What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. So no intro today, just going to quickly run through this. It's a great result, considering especially Liverpool lost yesterday. Last I checked, Man U was drawing against Newcastle, but Newcastle were down to 10 men, so probably not going to get the result we want there. But still, it's a 6-pointer against Villa, and 3 more points picked up on Liverpool as well, so it's a great result in that sense, and all around it was a great performance too. And I'll be honest, didn't start off that way. I was very frustrated with the lineup, I was frustrated with how we started, and I'll talk about that first just to get it out of the way, because it's a little annoying from Senior. So far, he's done well with most of his lineups, with most of his subs as well. Outside of, I would say, the Burnley match, most of his subs have made us better, but today his lineup was not great. Mostly focused in on Jorgensen and Gusto. Now, I understand for Gusto, it's mostly because he wanted to get James into the midfield to give Santos a break, and Lavia's not fully fit to start. But still, I just don't understand why Gusto's got to be the one to play. I know Achampong is going to be a center back in his mind, but he's still a right back right now, so you should be utilizing him there. And while Gusto does get a good assist, a lot of his passes today are where our attack went to die, and that's not the first time I've said that about him. And as far as Jorgensen, I don't understand this one at all. Yes, Sanchez didn't have a great game against Arsenal. His passing wasn't great. I still don't really think he was at fault for either of the goals. It was just 2 set-piece plays that Arsenal do well. They crowd out the keeper. As I said in my preview for this one, Cuevas seemed to have an answer for that. Villa did today whenever we did our corners. They pushed everybody up high, so he couldn't crowd out the keeper. And that works against teams that want to try to play that physical style on these set pieces, but for some reason we didn't do it against Arsenal. And so they had 2 corners. Sanchez is in a mix of bodies. He can't get to it. I don't understand how that's his fault. So the fact that he goes with Jorgensen today, it's a little frustrating and honestly just feels like a really dumb decision, especially considering how big this game was and how much these 3 points were needed. But thankfully those 2 decisions didn't end up affecting the result. We still get the win. Our performance today as well was really good. Honestly, a joy to watch. Very rarely this season have we put teams to the sword like this and really made them pay for their mistakes and put away our chances comfortably as well. There were a couple that maybe could have done a bit better on. Could have been 6-1. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints about the performance today. I will say, looking at the referees, pretty frustrating from them today. Outside of the penalty, which was, I think, as close to a stonewall penalty as you're going to get, some of the yellow cards he was handing out made no sense. You know, Joao Pedro gets a yellow card for going with the defender, and the defender basically throws himself to ground, and it's a yellow. Don't know where that came from. It's not like he was breaking toward goal, so that was a stupid yellow. And then Enzo as well gets one because he's applauding the referee's decision. Like, I understand sarcastically clapping at the referee is a yellow card, but if you're actually clapping for a decision he gave, I don't think that's a yellow card. So I don't know if he would just had to stick up his butt today, or like I've said before, I think the narrative around Chelsea and the idea that we are an undisciplined team has so taken hold that the referees are just prepared for players to get yellow cards for dissent or do something that's going to piss them off and give them a yellow card. It almost feels like the referees, that's just in their mind at the beginning of the game. And so a moment like that where Enzo comes up and claps because he made a good decision, in his mind, because he knows Chelsea is an undisciplined team, that's affecting how he's viewing that clapping, which I think is stupid, and it shouldn't happen. You should not go into any match with a predisposition for what you think that team's going to be doing. But looking at some of what really went right today, so first of all, I think the lineup worked for the most part. Again, I think Gusto was the one weak link in this whole team, because anytime the ball went out to him on the right side, typically we didn't see much done outside of the assist that he had. But I think something that worked really well is you had Chalobah and Fofana doing a pretty good job of marshalling Watkins. Hato, I think, did a really good job on the left-hand side. I can't remember who was out there. I think it might have been Bailey. But he did a really good job at marshalling him. And then Gusto was essentially there to track Maatsen, but also give him a problem, whereas James was dropping in to mark Rodgers whenever he would get down their left-hand side. I think that really worked well. And then outside of that, it's stuff that we've seen before. Enzo stepped up into the 10 alongside Palmer. Caicedo and James sort of ran the midfield, kept any counterattacks from happening for the most part. Joao Pedro up top, very mobile, very active, not dropping quite as deep as we're used to seeing him, but still getting involved in the play, which was nice to see. And then Garnacho and Gusto provided the width. And I think that really helped. And it was tough for Villa to deal with because we had so many options whenever we were on the ball. And we were moving it quickly too, which is something that I hope we see a lot more of, because I feel like one of our biggest problems looking at the past few matches where we've dropped points, it just comes down to we play too slow at times. And it's very easy for teams to go and press us whenever we're knocking it around as slow as we tend to. And again, I look at Sanchez and the balls that he nearly gave away in the Arsenal match. A lot of that was because the balls that were coming to him were so slow. So I really hope we continue on with this pace that we're playing with today. because I think that's going to be very effective in a lot of the matches that we have coming up. But getting into the individuals, so first of all, Jorgensen, he made one good save. Watkins had a chance that was kind of up here near post, and he got his hand up really well, knocked it over. But outside of that, I'm just not confident with him. I mean, the goal that was scored is very easy. I mean, it's a clever little back heel, but Jorgensen's basically already on the ground whenever the back heel comes in. And then the one that was scored that was offside, I've seen Sanchez make that save probably 5 to 10 times this season, and it just squirms right through him and goes in. Thankfully, he was offside, but still, you want him to make that save. You need him to make that save. And the fact that he doesn't shows why Sanchez should be starting over him. His passing today was fine. You know, he had a couple of scary moments, but for the most part, it looked a lot more comfortable whenever he was in possession. But the problem is, we're going to give up chances. We're going to see teams have shots and have shots on target. You want your keeper to make those saves when he has to, and I trust Sanchez to do that more than I do Jorgensen. For me, that's where I look at Jorgensen and go, I don't trust him in goal. I don't know why he was playing today. I don't know if it's just maybe taking Sanchez out of the spotlight because a lot of fans were jumping on the hate bandwagon for him again after a poor performance against Arsenal. But hopefully we don't see this again, because I don't have any confidence in him when he's in. It's just not a good feeling for me whenever a shot comes in. Starting at Hato at left back, I thought he had a really good game again today, and it's good to see because even though Cucurella is a better left back than he is, it's nice that we have a good backup, because that's where, when I look at the right back, talking about Gusto today, when James isn't back there, we have to rely on Gusto, because Acheampong, like I said, they see him as a center back, so they're trying to get him out of that position, so it's going to be Gusto when James isn't back there, and he's just not good enough. Defensively today, he didn't really have a whole lot to do, so thankfully we didn't have to rely on him there. But on the ball, I mean, he is so sloppy with his touch. Outside of the one cross he put in for Joao Pedro's goal, which was a well-timed cross. Outside of that, I can't remember a good cross he put in today. I can't remember a good pass that he made today that really helped us. I can remember several giveaways. I can remember the one where James put it right at his feet, and instead of turning his body to receive it, he tried to stick a back leg at it, and it goes up under his foot and goes out for a throw-in. I can remember the one time Palmer puts him in with a great ball, and instead of slipping it to Joao Pedro or having a shot, he basically passes it right to Martinez. So there's just so many moments from him that I look and go, he's not good enough. He's not good enough to be on this pitch. Whereas Hato, there are several moments where I look at him and go, he is a quality player. He's not quite as good as Cucurella, and so Cucurella will start at left back when he's available. But it's really nice to have somebody that can take that spot to give Cucurella a break, or if he's injured, we have this option. And he's doing really well, and it's good to see, because Maresca was not giving him any time. And I think we're seeing how much of a mistake that was. Chalobah was a monster today. I didn't really talk about him in the Arsenal match. He was really good there. And with so much talk about him leaving in the summer, I feel like these types of performances show what a mistake that would be, because he's so effective at winning the ball. The one moment whenever, can't remember exactly how it happened. I think it was a giveaway. But Watkins was one-on-one with Jorgensen, cuts him, Jorgensen's on his butt, and Chalobah just steps in, bodies him off the ball, wins it back, gets it out. It was just so nice to see a defender that is turned on and aware. And unfortunately, I can't say the same thing for Fofana. And this is where I know a lot of people do think he's a really good defender, and there are parts of his game that are very, very good. On the ball, I think he's solid. And I do think his one-on-one defending is good. He's good at breaking down. He's good at making sure the players don't get past him. But his tracking of runners and his awareness is so poor. There was one moment, I'll see if I can find the screenshots for it, but a cross comes in, and you can see all of our back line is in a line. I don't remember who on the Villa team gets on the end of it, but essentially the only Chelsea player that is still moving at that point is Chalobah, and he gets in and wins the ball. Fofana's still top of the box. He's just standing and watching the whole play out. And you can't have that as a center defender, and he does it more often than not. So that's where, for me, yes, there are good elements of his game, but because of that, because of how often I see him do that, I don't really rate him as a good defender. And it's why, honestly, coming into this match, like I said, I kind of preferred to see Chalobah and Sarr. I thought they would have been a better pair because I saw a bit more from Sarr than I have from Fofana. So it's just another example of that, and I know it's something that not everybody cares about, because at the end of the day, that didn't lead to a goal, so who cares if he was standing and watching? But when that happens in another play, and it goes in, then all of a sudden it's a problem. So we need to make sure those moments get cut out. And like I said, it happens so often. I don't think it's getting cut out anytime soon. I think it's just a bad habit in his game. Getting into the midfield though, Caicedo and James both did well, broke up the play a lot, kept the ball moving. James on the ball, a couple of misplaced passes again today. It's something I've talked about recently. Those passes where it feels like typically he's very good on the ball, he should be better. I don't know where it's come from, but at the very least today, he had a lot of more quality passes that did create opportunities. Because if he's doing that, then I can excuse the couple of passes that were misplaced. Getting forward, Palmer thought he had a good solid game today. A couple of moments again where maybe not quite at his best, but he gets himself a goal, which was nice, and had some really good passes in behind that set up for some great chances. Enzo I thought was very solid as well. He's one of those players that divides opinion, but I think he's been really good for most of this season. This was another great performance for him. The assist for Joao Pedro's goal was brilliant. The way he held it up and flicked it in behind was very well timed. And he's a player that works so hard as well. I've talked about before, I don't trust him defensively because he's not the quickest and he's not the strongest, but he's very diligent in his tracking and he always works hard to try to win the ball back. So it's great to see him really start to step up and show what he's capable of. And then Garnacho, not a great performance, and I know some of that's going to be my own personal bias against him, but he did get himself an assist. He had a couple of decent opportunities that he created. So on the whole of it, I thought he was okay, just still not quite up to the level that we need him to be, considering how bad our left wing situation is at the moment. But let's talk about the man of the match, Joao Pedro, with might be his first hat-trick here at Chelsea. It was a brilliant performance today again. He's a player that when he doesn't score, I don't know if he gets enough recognition for how much he does off the ball, but when he does, it just shows what a good player he is. His finish is so comfortable. The chip for the second goal was perfect, inch perfect. And honestly, his runs for the first and third goals as well, really well timed. He puts himself in a good position. It's the type of run that I know a lot of people would talk about. We don't see enough from Jackson. We don't see enough from Delap. Just that ability to split the defenders and get in behind them and find that little bit of space to tap it in. It's something that I think he's showing he has in his box, and he's doing a really good job of it this season. So all in all, brilliant performance for him, and I'm glad he got himself the hat-trick too. Definitely man of the match without a doubt. But as far as the subs that came on, first one I believe was Lavia on for Gusto, who seemed to have some sort of issue. Don't know if it was a knock or just feeling tired. But it's good to see him getting more minutes. Again, I want them to manage his time. A lot of people, after his performance against Arsenal, were calling for him to start more over Santos, which I think is unfair to Santos. I think Santos has been good since Rosenior's come in and started trusting him more. I do understand that Lavia, when he's at his best, he's going to be better than Santos. He has more quality. I think he has more speed as well. But if we rush him back in, if we start playing him all the time, we're going to see what's happened before where he gets re-injured. So I don't want them to rush him. I want them to make sure he stays fit because I do want to see him play more. I do want to see him actually feature for us, but I just don't think that's going to happen if they try to rush him back because all these fans are desperate to see more of him. Next two subs, I know one was Tosin. I don't know why he's so trusted. I mean, granted, I do think getting Fofana off was probably a good thing because he looked like he was feeling something, but man, why Tosin? I just don't understand why these managers trust him so much. Because he doesn't do anything effective for us. He didn't do anything bad today, to be fair to him. But I just don't see him doing anything that gets me excited to see more. Like, even in the matches where he doesn't hurt us, I'm not seeing great defensive challenges. The only thing he really brings at times is he has good height, so he can be effective on a set piece. But even then, we saw against Burnley, he wasn't effective there because he was standing and watching. So I just don't see what he brings, to be honest. And anytime he's subbed on, I feel like it's a mistake. Thankfully, it didn't hurt us today, but it's a little concerning that he's still within the mindset of Rosenior as far as he comes on as a sub. And the other sub, was Cucurella. Came on for, I believe, Enzo at the time, which was a good choice considering he was on a yellow. It's kind of interesting to see because he ended up pushing further up the field and was kind of a left wing at times. Garnacho was pushing a little bit more inside. So it was kind of an interesting position for him, I think. It allowed him to get a little bit more further forward. He did create a really good chance as well. So it honestly might be something to look at since Hato has been playing so well at left back and our left wings have not been that effective. Using Cucurella a bit further forward might not be the worst idea in the world, but I don't know if he's going to actually do that or if that was just to get Enzo off the pitch and give Cucurella some minutes since he's just coming back from injury. And then the final two subs, Santos and Delap. Good for Delap to get some minutes under his legs. Gives Joao Pedro a break as well since he came off with a hat-trick. And from what I saw from Delap today, nothing really special. Did okay, had some good touches, had a couple of decent passes. Santos as well, I thought came on, looked pretty comfortable. He's been playing really well, like I said, so I do want to see him continue to feature in this team. But all in all, I mean, a 4-1 demolition of another team that's chasing Champions League just like we are, it's a great feeling to have, especially at their place. I know Villa have not been in the best run of form, but even so, to go and do this, it's a great confidence boost. You got Wrexham on the weekend as well, so it's a nice chance to hopefully progress further in this FA Cup against a team that obviously has a lot of hype coming in around them. But I really hope this is the moment where we kick off and we do see that push to make sure we're in the top 4. Because while at the beginning of the season, I did say I wanted to see us push for the title, it's obvious at this point that that wasn't going to happen. And I still do think a lot of that is down to Maresca and his ideals, his stubbornness. He did keep us from really pushing for the title because he just was not capable of figuring out a lot of these mid to lower table games. So that is disappointing that now we're just hoping for top 4, top 5, but it's something that has to happen. And so this is, in my opinion, a great stepping stone to get us on that track. And also, hopefully, it'll shut up a lot of the doom and gloom naysayers that have infiltrated the club recently. But with that being said, those are my thoughts. So, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. Also, let me know what your thoughts are down below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to call me stupid. Let me know, we can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Also, if you want to hear me talk about TV shows and movies that I like, check out my channel Mason the Brock Henderson, where I upload reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as if you want to watch me play through video games and try to make it entertaining for you, I have a Let's Play channel, Meso Hendo Plays, where I upload every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Also, if you do want to help me grow this channel, I do have a Patreon where all the funds and donations will go directly into improving this channel's quality. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, and up the Chels.